Well, we go to all our classes throughout the day on Wednesday. The only classes that are missed are ones where we're getting ready to play the game in the evening. And that's been something that we have done uh, on a basis since we've been here. And they now have a rule in the MAC that was just put in, I think, this past year, that all teams have to do that. So we were a little bit ahead of the game on that end of it, and we found that we've been able to play well with doing that. Obviously, there are coaches in the league that think that that if you're playing a midweek game, that you're better off to be the team on the road, because you don't have to attend classes, obviously, when you're on the road. And you get a chance to house your guys, prepare them, get them focused. And I guess if you're a football team that's not ready for what we've been doing, it probably could be a problem. But our players are conditioned to doing this, and so we'll be able to get this done without it being a problem on our end, I hope, in terms of focus.
Coach, any injury updates on Carl Jones?
Carl's been practicing. Looks like he's going to be ready to play in the game, and he's moving around really well. So you never know till he's out there, but going at full speed, play after play after play, in full equipment. But right now he looks great running around, and says he's feeling very good. So he should be all set to go.
And how about guys like Omar Leftwich and Neil Wynn?
Neil is still ruled out. Omar is practicing also, should be ready to play with no problem.
I want to get your thoughts on something that came down the pipe with the NCAA last week, and their decision to perhaps allow schools, if they choose to hand out a stipend or an extra cost to attend college, money out to student athletes, $2,000 bonus thing they've been talking about. What are your feelings on that, and how it will impact a program in a major conference such as yours?
Well, I guess I don't know the impact. We'll obviously see what the impact is. I'm not sure how our conference sees it, whether or not there'll be anything that will be handed down from the conference office on how all schools handle it, or if schools are able to handle that individually. It's unclear to me about the ramifications of it. I think it happened pretty quickly, and why all of a sudden it transpired that way. Usually the NCAA doesn't move that fast, and for whatever reason, they decided to move forward at a very, very fast pace on this. I presume, I hope, that they understand there's a lot of conferences, a lot of schools involved, and they certainly have taken consideration, I would think, for all those involved. Whether it's a good idea or not, I don't like to see players struggle. I know that there are many players that do struggle financially, that even in the summer when they get a job, and they're always working year-round to compete at a very high level, and so their time, even during the summer, especially if they're taking some summer classes, eliminates them from being able to make spending money. And so there are many guys that find it very difficult to get through a school year, and so I'm glad to see that some of those guys will have relief. How that all works in terms of Pell money, I know that numerous guys that are in a needy situation are able to get Pell money. They did have a a special needy fund that was set up some years ago for athletes also. And, you know, you could, if someone has a family emergency, you can fly the athlete home if he lives out of state and pay for that. And so there have been things leading up to this that the NCAA has okayed along the way. This is a big step, you know, I'm glad for the athletes. I just hope it works out for all the schools involved.
Does it make it more complicated for schools such as Ohio when coming up with its athletic budget year to year?
Mm-hmm.
Especially, you know, does that $2,000 then apply to every student athlete at the school, or only athletes in certain programs, or is that part of the details that got to be worked out?
Yeah, that, you know, and I have not looked at exactly what they did pass as far as the details, and so I do not know. I have visited with Jim Schaus for a brief moment on it, and so obviously we're looking at it and trying to determine how we'll end up handling it.
When you play Temple, you know, you gotta try to eliminate the run, or, you know, stop it as best you can. What's the key to stopping, you know, such a good running game, especially when they have two good running backs like Pierce and Brown?
Putting a lot of people at the line of scrimmage, but in doing that, if they do find a crease, you have no secondary deep support to help usually if you crowd the line of scrimmage, and so it's a complicated issue. You know, people think that all you need to do is put a lot of people up there, and it's you know, that's the way to do it. But in putting a lot of people up there, you're very vulnerable to play action passes, and really good running teams are very good at play action passes, and that's how they get a lot of their big plays. And so you need to find a way to control the running game. I don't know that you're not going to stop them and shut them down, but you need to control it. It's got to be a game of field position, and I know both teams understand that. And so with that being said, special teams comes into play huge. And that's the thing that's a little troublesome about these guys. You look at special teams, and they're at the top or close to the top in the country at almost all the special team categories. And so they cover kickoffs extremely aggressively and well. They return kickoffs very well. They return punts very well, and they cover punts very well. And so field position is vital. And looking at some of their games, their punter has done a great job of pinning teams down. And they're not against punting from your 35-yard line, your 40-yard line. Instead of going for it or trying a field goal, they may just punt and try to pin you down inside the 10-yard line and say that our defense is the top defense in the MAC statistically, and we're going to play this game with you. You're going to have to punt in three downs, and we're going to get the ball back inside your territory with a first down. And so that's part of the game that's going to be going on. They lead the conference statistically, I think, in 7 different categories, which is huge. You know, I know there's been teams that have been number 1 in several areas, but 7 is a huge number. So this will be by far the best all-around football team that we will have played. Offense, defense, special teams, and one of the most physical. And so it's a huge task. You know, I know our players have worked hard in preparation for it. I know we're ready to go. So should be a great game.
How much of a motivational factor is it, you know, that the game's at night on Wednesday on ESPN and wearing the black jersey?
Well, you know, I think any time players get to be on national TV, they're excited about it, and it'll be that way for both teams. You know, players like to get the exposure. It's good for your school. It's good for your program and recruiting, and so a lot of pluses go into a nationally televised game, and so you know that part of it's all good.